There's a feeling you only get in the wild, a call deep in your soul. It pulls you from comfort, asking you to test your limits. For me, that call comes from the mountains. Climbing isn't just a sport, it's a conversation with nature. The reward isn't just the view from the top. It's the journey, the struggle, the feeling of being truly alive. On March 12, 2026, the call was stronger than ever. My backpack was heavy, packed with rope, water, food, and a first aid kit. My lifeline. In the wild, you trust your gear completely. The air was crisp, the city a distant memory. Out here, nature sets the rules. You respect them, or you pay the price. The trail ahead was rugged, snaking up the mountain. Each step a challenge, each breath a victory. This is what I live for. The exertion, the focus, the determination. People ask why I do it. Why risk so much for a climb? It's about facing fears, discovering what you're made of. Hanging from a rock face, you find strength you never knew you had. My goal. A remote peak, known for its difficult terrain and stunning views. Few venture this far. That's the appeal. I wanted to see a world still wild and untouched. The mountains strip away everything non-essential. They leave you with just yourself and the challenge ahead. It's humbling. A reminder of your place in the grand scheme. With anticipation in my heart, I began my ascent into the wilderness. The climb was more than a test of endurance, it was a search for meaning. Every step forward was a step away from the ordinary. Out here, you're not just alive, you're awake. The wild doesn't care who you are, it only asks, are you ready? And so I climbed. The higher I climbed, the world transformed. Forest gave way to scattered pines, then to bare rock. The air grew colder, biting at my skin. The path became rocky switchbacks, every step deliberate. The mountain sounds became my symphony, wind whispering, a distant stream, the cry of a hawk. These are the heartbeat of the wilderness. The sky was a deep blue, jagged peaks piercing the horizon. Old snow clung to crevices, sun casting dramatic shadows. The beauty was raw, humbling, and made my own problems seem small. My muscles burned, lungs drank in thin air. The challenge sharpened my senses. I was acutely aware of every detail, the texture of rock, the scent of pine, the sun's warmth. It was a state of heightened awareness, being completely present. This is the magic of the mountains. You become part of the landscape, every sense alive, every moment real. Out here, you remember what it means to be human. As I climbed, a subtle shift crept in. The mountain sounds faded. The birds, the rustle of creatures, all fell silent. An unusual quiet settled over the landscape. A warning, in the wild, silence means a predator is near. My instincts screamed, something was wrong. I froze on a narrow ledge, scanning for movement. My heart beat faster, adrenaline sharpening my senses. I listened, nothing but the wind. The stillness was more unsettling than any noise. I searched the rocky outcrops for anything out of place. Predators are masters of camouflage. I knew I was being watched. A primal sensation, the feeling of being prey. The hair on my neck stood up. The mountain, once welcoming, now felt menacing. I took a slow breath, fighting panic. In survival, panic is your enemy. I had to stay in control, rely on my training. I scanned the terrain, every movement slow and methodical. The feeling of being watched was intense, almost unbearable. I expected to see eyes staring back at me at any moment. The suspense was suffocating. Then I saw it. High above, perched on a rocky ledge, was a silhouette. Long, low, perfectly still. At first, it could have been a rock or bush, but it was too defined. As my eyes adjusted, the form became clear. A puma. Its tawny coat blended perfectly with the rocks. It watched me, unmoving, its gaze intelligent and calculating. My blood ran cold. I was not alone. The puma was sizing me up, threat, competitor, or prey. Its power was immense, every muscle built for speed and stealth. In that moment, I understood my place in the food chain. I was not the dominant force here. The puma didn't move, just watched, silent and patient. Its stillness was terrifying. A growling animal is predictable. This was something else. The cat was in complete control, on its home turf. I was the intruder, out of my element. The mountain felt like the puma's kingdom, and I had trespassed. Every instinct screamed caution. I was face to face with the wild's true ruler. The encounter was a test, one I couldn't afford to fail. I had to act, but every move mattered. The standoff had begun. A wave of primal fear hit me, heart pounding, nerves on fire. The fight-or-flight instinct surged, but I had to control it. If fear took over, I'd freeze or make a fatal mistake. I forced slow, deep breaths, pushing panic down. My training took over. This was the moment it mattered. Rule 1. Do not run. Running triggers the chase instinct. You can't outrun a puma. To run is to become prey. My mind became a checklist. Stay calm. Don't turn your back. No sudden moves. Make yourself look bigger. Make noise. Back away, slowly. The fear was still there, but determination took over. I was no longer just a climber. I was a survivor. My life depended on thinking clearly and acting decisively. I kept my eyes on the puma. Eye contact was crucial. I needed to know if it was preparing to charge or losing interest. Turning my back would have been an invitation to attack. So I stood my ground. Body tense, mind racing. The next few minutes would decide everything. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but I resisted. I was locked in a silent negotiation with a predator. The wild demanded respect and absolute focus. I was ready to do whatever it took to survive. My first move, make myself look big and intimidating. I unzipped my bright red jacket, spreading it wide like wings. I stood tall, arms out, breaking up my silhouette. Next, I made noise. A deep, guttural yell echoed off the rocks. "Hey, get out of here!" I shouted, clapping my hands, banging my water bottle on stone. The goal: be loud, unpredictable, and threatening. Predators avoid risky fights. I had to seem like one. My movements were deliberate, no sudden gestures. I was putting on a show, a performance for an audience of one. My jacket flapped in the wind, my voice filled the air. I was no longer a quiet climber, I was a monster. The puma watched, calculating. I waited, heart pounding, to see how it would react. The outcome hung in the balance. The puma watched my bizarre display, cautious but not afraid. Its tail swished, ears twitching, muscles rippling under its skin. My strategy was working. I was no longer an easy target. For what felt like forever, we were locked in a tense standoff. I shouted, waved my jacket, refusing to show fear. The puma let out a low hiss, a warning, a claim to its territory. This was a negotiation, not an imminent attack. I yelled louder, refusing to back down. It was a battle of wills, a psychological war on a mountain ledge. The puma took a step forward, then paused, crouching lower. My heart leaped. Was it preparing to spring? The tension was suffocating, every instinct screaming to run. But I held my ground, a statue of feigned courage. The wild was testing me, and I couldn't afford to fail. Every second stretched, the outcome uncertain. I waited for the puma's decision. The puma made its choice. It turned away. I kept up my display, making noise until it disappeared behind the rocks. Only then did I breathe, the danger passing. I knew I had to retreat, slowly, never turning my back. My legs shook with leftover adrenaline as I backed away. Eyes glued to where the cat vanished. Every shadow looked like a predator, every sound a threat. I forced myself to stay focused, moving carefully down the path. I didn't relax until I reached the thicker woods below. The mountain no longer felt like a playground. It was wild, dangerous, and I was only a guest. Every step was cautious, every sense on high alert. I made noise, announcing my presence to any other wildlife. Relief only came when I reached the safety of the lower slopes. The encounter had changed me. I would never see the wild the same way again. At the trailhead, relief washed over me. The puma encounter was a powerful reminder. In the wild, we are visitors. Nature's rules are not ours. We must respect them to survive. Knowledge and preparation saved my life. Staying calm, making myself big, creating noise, backing away. These aren't just tips, they're survival. Panic is the real killer. A calm mind is your greatest weapon. My advice: always be aware, trust your instincts, and learn about the wildlife where you go. Your safety is your responsibility. Never underestimate the wild. That terrifying moment was also a gift. a raw connection with nature's heart. It taught me humility, respect, and the power of calm. I'll keep climbing, but with new wisdom and deeper appreciation. The wild belongs to its true kings, and I am only a guest.